And hello, what's up, guys? Good evening. Welcome again to episode 2 of the 5R Sneaks show here on 5 Reasons Sports Network. Tonight, we have a special guest. He covers the Hurricanes for Canes Insight, right?
Yes,
right,
sir.
Brad?
Yes, sir.
So our man here, Brad. Now, so not only does Brad cover, I guess you would probably want to say, well, even though the Dolphins are kind of finally rising up per se, but still, though, you know, we all know that South Florida has always been Miami Hurricanes ball no matter what.
Of course.
He covers that, and he loves sneakers. So
Yeah,
that's
man.
fun and great.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that about me, man.
Yeah, awesome. So, Brad, so real quickly, so kind of give us a brief intro. What got you into sneakers at what age and why, and what's your favorite all-time shoe?
Yeah, man. I cover the Canes, and when it rains, I cover my sneakers as well, man. I got those shoe protectors on, at all times.
Hey.
But to be honest with you, man, it's similar to my Miami Hurricanes football team, man. I came out the wound as soon as I was born. I had a Hurricane onesie, and I literally left the hospital in some Cardinal 7s. Like, those were my first pair of shoes ever worn. Crib set. I'm talking about soft bottoms. I believe, they first released November 1st, 1992. I was born November 17th. 1992. So I literally had them straight up. Dude, I'm telling you. Yes.
Hey, Paul, I don't think we have time to do the show for us anymore. Brian, go ahead and take over, bro.
No, for sure, man. But I mean, it's
awesome.
it's similar with the Canes, right? It's just something I grew into throughout my whole life. It's something that me and my father had. It was one of those bonds between going to Miami Hurricane football games, going to practice, and then throughout the week, on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, when sneaker releases would come out, when it was a legit, real release where you got those jitters and like you literally had to camp out for things. I have some crazy stories, but yeah, man, I was always that kid that came back to school with the brand new jersey that matched, the headband, the socks, outfit. The shoes. I had to do when the T-Max came out, when LeBron was in high school. I mean, that was when I was in middle school. So, I mean, that's when it was popping. But as far as favorite shoe of all time, I gotta go. The OG white cement 3s. I believe they originally released. 1988. I believe.
Yeah. And then I think for that particular shoe, we all remember it because of the dunk that he did.
Yeah, the free throw line dunk between that and of course the famous silhouette of the elephant print, right? Like the elephant print. It was one of those prints to where like it was just one of a kind. Yeah, I thought there's a lot of history with that shoe. So, yeah, man, the retro 3s have to be the one.
Yeah, no, awesome. So, real quickly, I got into sneakers because my father was a shoe store manager. He was a shoe store manager till I was 22. So, basically, since the moment I was born, right? Mm-hmm. And so then he always knew what came in. And then, obviously, we know that all the new releases always happen on Saturday. So, he'll get the shipment on a Monday. He'd be like, yo, Manny, this came in. What do you want? I'm like, what? Man, like my first LeBron Nike collabs have to be the Air Force Ones when he got drafted by the Cavs, right? And then those burgundy gold white Air Force One lows came out. And I would say my first ever Jordan, because I was into Jordans very young, but then I stopped a little bit and all I did was Air Maxes. And then I got back into the Jordan scenery, I'd probably say 2006 or 7. And my first ones I bought then were the black Citrus 7s.
Okay.
Which right now, if I was to walk on them, I probably wouldn't be able to survive more than 10 minutes because it's so hard and flat.
Man, I talk about stories, man. Like, I mean, my first job was my freshman or sophomore year in high school. I was a sales associate at Finish Line for about 2.5, 3 years. Once I got done being a sales associate, I became an MIT in training. Then I was a manager at Finish Line. Worked my way over. I worked my way over to a local House of Hoops here in Gainesville. And I mean, man, I could tell you stories of like, Saturday night, Friday night releases where I would literally bring my boys and like give them, a referee shirt, from Foot Locker and have them sneak in a couple hours early, before the release and be like, hey man, these are my coworkers. They would literally come into the store. I would be like, hey, man, this is your shoe. Boom, we're good. I got to take care of my people.
So I like to compare bots of today to individuals like yourself that went ahead and was like, hey, you show up at a time, I got you.
Man, it's not even.
If you don't put in the request on your bot and your rightful information of your credit card on time, you ain't getting anything. Yeah. So I like to compare those two things but again, that's the way that it was. And I fully see that because when I was When I finally got my first J's, I was a sales manager at Champs Sports in Coral Springs. And let me tell you, there was nothing like waking up at Saturday morning at 7 and knowing when you got to the store roughly like at 7:30 to 8, the lines in 3 doors leading to Foot Locker, Champs, and Foot Action. It was because it felt, you know, you got the tingles and you're like, you know what, but I shouldn't feel this way. I have my pair. I'm good.
I'm good.
Dude, I mean, the best feeling is when you come out of that store and you got more than one pair and people are looking at you like, oh man, like how did this dude just end up with this?
Brad, when I would walk out with my pair in my hand, and I'm like, bro, I got the last 10 and a half. And I'm looking at every single individual that's still in line with Wapa. I'm like, oh, you ain't getting this shit.
No, I mean,
and now here I am where Paul gets every single damn raffle.
Hey, dude.
Payback's a
10, I think is a common size though, because I'm an 8.5/9.
Okay.
Which I think is common, but I feel 10 and 10.5 are way more common.
Yeah, that's what I wear. I wear 10. So
10.5. So I found that real quick from 9 to 10.5 are the ones that we're always gonna have the most of, but we're always gonna have the ones that are gonna fly off the shelves.
Correct.
No matter what, right? And if you're a size 13, 14, you're lucky. And if you're a guy that wears a size 7.5 or 8, even better, because sometimes you can even find the same shoes that cost $220 for 160 now, right? So it's just a thing. So awesome. So
you brought up the bots and the whole like sneaker release thing, man. Like just talking to younger people nowadays, you know, running into somebody with some nice kicks and just talking like the story behind the shoe. Like I watched your show last week, and just the story behind things. When you talk about sneakers nowadays and how they get them, the story is within 2 minutes, right? It's like, oh, I got them. I came up on StockX and paid 6 instead of 8, or like Paul, you know, I got the raffle. My thing with sneakers, the reason why I fell in love with the game of sneakers is similar to like Miami, right? The story behind it, you know, you being able to remember the scene and the moment of what happened. Like I'll give you a perfect example. February 24th, 2012. Any sneakerhead remembers that weekend. That was the all-star weekend of the Galaxy foams, the Kobe's, the LeBron Galaxies, and the Kevin Durant's. So I at this time, I was a freshman in college. You know, it was my first time going into college. You know, it's something that you're supposed to take real serious. Well, I knew this weekend was coming up. I was still really heavy in the sneaker game. I missed 2 days of school and went to the Orlando Mall, camped out for 2.5 days, and I was the 6th person in line when these shoes came out, and I ended up getting the Nike Elite socks, the Galaxy foam posits, the LeBrons, all that weekend. And that was the same night that ended up being a shootout, and they ended up dropping the whole release, like in the middle release.
I remember that too. Yeah.
I will always remember that till this day. Like just the story behind getting, you know, certain shoes. I mean, like hearing the gates banging, like when you're being on the other side of being like a manager and like just hearing people running like on Black Friday, where you're just like the mall is completely empty and you just hear a herd of people running. Like this, it's just the greatest feeling, man. Those are the stories that I love the most, and just like being able to build the relationships, right, with either a sales associate or a manager at a store, and like just keeping that connection where like, you know, you're able to go in there, you're pulling up to the store and you see a line full of like 55 people. They're all looking up and down at you, like trying to size up your foot already. Like, you see a 9.5 and see a 10, but it's like, little do you know, like your boy already in the back already has your shoe for you. So like, that's the good stuff about it.
I'm not gonna lie, but first of all, I'm glad nothing happened to you. I'm glad you're here with us today. I think it's those types of situations that nowadays when you're a Foot Locker manager or when you're even a store manager at Undefeated right now, because right now I'm sure in LA it's crazy. Ever since Kobe passed away, I'm sure there's a fan that walks in every single day. What's coming out? Can you please help me? I couldn't get the Grinches. I couldn't get the All-Stars. He's no longer with Nike. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm here sitting like Jesus. Like I ordered the Grinches a month ago and I'm still waiting for them. My 2015 OG Chicago's were, I was just told by GOAT, are no longer available because they can't find the shipment. So I'm like, Jesus, not even in an honest world can I even get an opportunity on these. And imagine what you guys had to go through back in the day. I didn't do those things because obviously I worked at a shoe retail and I told my boss, I'll arrive at 7:30 to 8. I'll help you distribute, but I'm not going out the front door because I know the minute I go out the front door, everyone's gonna be eyeballing me. And my mom, seeing my bag, yo, how did you get, yo, can you da, da, da? And then of course we know how it works. You give me an extra 100 here, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like I think it's those types of things. The way that Brad went through, Paul, is now it's like, listen, if bots have become so huge, and that creates less shootings, that creates less drama, that creates less people lining up. I can see why that in a way that helps out with releases.
Yeah,
but let's be honest,
it's a safety thing too. It's just, but I kind of feel you though. It really the scope of sneakers right now has really changed, because I know back then, especially when Brad was talking about his experience, that camping was like a huge thing. Like today, like I can't even imagine camping for more than like one night. The thought of that is really crazy to me. But I mean, honestly, like if do you still have the phones, by the way, Brad, or you
No, I sold them like a month and a half after they released for like $2,000.
See, so, I don't even blame you for 2.5 nights of work making like an $1,800 profit. That's
to be real with you, that release in particular, my eyes were set on the LeBrons. Those were the ones I wanted out of all of them. So the fact that I was able to come up with all of them, I was good. But the Nike SBs was another shoe in particular. I'm super glad that they're starting to become a trend again.
Yeah.
But those are another one in particular. I was really heavy on. I had the Red Lobsters, the Nike Gibsons, the 720s. There were a few Nike SBs that the colorways, and again the story. I love how they had a unique look and a story behind each shoe.
Yeah. So, and then also, I like the way that you kind of influence the way that a particular shoe or shoes got you into them, correct? There's always something that happens to us along the lines that we say, man, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Like I don't know if you guys know, so our guy from the Warriors, Green, he's coming out with his own collab with Converse. His shoes come out next month. And it's so cool that, right? Because before Nike, before anything, basketball players played in Converse. So for him to go back and tell his stories, well, when I was a little kid, I had the Magic Johnsons and I had the Birds. I wanted to make my own thing. Yes, I'm with Nike, and I've been with Nike forever, but I didn't want to make my PEs. But then he decided to join up with Converse, which is basically the same company as Nike, and makes his own, because he wants to tell his story. And that's the part that I feel like this young generation, unfortunately, is missing. And I don't think it's their fault. I don't think Nike and Adidas does a great thing of giving them a picture of it. It's like, here's a 20-second thing. Here's what's coming out. Go check Go and StockX. And these kids do this. Oh, wow, $800 a pair for a 9.5?
Easy.
I'm 7. I don't care. I'm going after the 9.5. And if I know a guy
with so weird, man.
I'm saying though, it's the freaking truth. Go ask any kid that's 19 years old that has the cement 3s on, and I want you to ask them, how do you know about those shoes besides watching and whatever? They probably can't give you an answer, and they won't. And it's like, well, what do you know about the Air Jordan 1? That it's an Air Jordan 1.
It's funny. It's funny. Anybody that I meet out, especially here in Gainesville, Florida, home of the Florida Gators, but anybody I meet out that is wearing sneakers, I always quiz them, because they're always looking at my feet, I'm like their feet, and we start talking about sneakers. I'm like, all right, right off the rip, what do the Retro 13s resemble? What animal, and tell me what parts of the shoe? And they're like, what? I'm like, bro, you don't know sneakers then. That's one of those things where you just gotta know. You gotta be able to give me something to where I feel like you're on the same level with me as far as sneakers.
It goes past the look and just the aesthetic of what the
sneaker
looks like. That's that's for me too. It's I grew up a huge basketball fan, and just how certain Jordans, certain Kobe's, even the fact that you can kind of these certain sneakers kind of are tribute, or not tributed, but they represent a certain moment. It was a way to combine basketball and history together to commemorate history, which is what I really like that. You guys brought up the cement 3s with MJ back in '88. Even with Kobe and the Grinches, when he wore that on Christmas Day.
What about the South Beach LeBrons, right? The South Beach 8s that are now coming out. I mean, I remember when they first came out, people were jumping on them like crazy. And what's weird? Speaking of LeBron and shoes jumping like crazy, don't y'all remember what mall? I think it was on US 1, the Nike store that used to be there on US 1. I'm trying to on Town Place.
When you're on the way to
campus.
When you're on the way to campus, or
on the right hand side? Yeah, it's on Sunset. So
correct.
The Nike store that used to be in Sunset, Do you guys remember the LeBron Miami Night lows that came out there and people were literally about to kill people for it, and they were going for like 2-3 racks if you had them? They came back out and you could buy them on StockX for like $400. I'm like, dude, what is up with this?
One of my friends actually was in line for that, and I think so. He wanted his size. He's normally a size 9, but I think when he got to his turn, I think he was like in the teens or somewhere. They only had a 13, or no, I think his friend convinced him to get the 13 because supposedly the 13 would sell for more. And I'm just like, dude, like if you can get your size, just get your size.
So guys, so speaking of LeBron, real quick, these are about to come out again.
Yep.
Yes.
These right here. Now, I actually questioned a very young sneakerhead, and I asked him, why is it that you want those? And he literally said, oh, because it reminds me of South Beach. And I'm here trying to just take this in. And I'm like, well, how do I explain that? Listen, when LeBron signed with Miami, he had all these specific ones. And this one meant a lot more because it was like Miami Vice.
Yeah.
It meant that he had finally landed. It meant he had come here to take care of.
It was the first LeBron release, I think, after he came.
Well, it was a very quiet release because unfortunately I was not able to get a pair. But now that I've seen that they're coming out, no matter in a month or so, to me it's everything that I want because I missed out on those, and because I have the Christmas ones, I have the gray ones we scored.
The cool grays.
Scored almost 70 points against the Magic.
Did you like the entourages?
Huh?
Did you like the entourages?
I did and I didn't. Half and half. It wasn't really my big thing, to be honest with you. Which other ones are along those lines? There were like a couple of other ones, like these low, the low Sprite ones, right?
Oh my god, I love those, bro.
Those were nice.
I was never into those. I know of a lot of people that never even loved them.
Man.
They just came out all of a sudden and say, "Oh my god, I need to get that. I need to get that." It's like, no, LeBron lows have been coming out recently, and you just feel entitled. And you want to make sure that you get your hands on them.
The OG, when they first came out, I had those in the Solar Reds. The Solar Reds.
The Solar Reds are
nice.
Yeah, the Solar Reds. With the Sprites, you had to throw in the Volt laces, though. You can't keep them with the normal.
Yeah, you cannot keep it royal, and you cannot have it white. It has to be gold.
For sure.
I find it interesting how, because like LeBrons don't really carry that same weight in terms of like streetwear per se. Like you don't see a lot of people rocking LeBrons like before. Like
correct.
With the 8s or the 7s, 8s, the 9s. I feel like after the 10s, no one really rocks LeBrons like that casually. Like,
and me being older, having 2 kids now. I mean, I look young, but I'm 28, about to be 29. And as much as I still love sneakers, you made a great point, Paul. Like almost any shoe that looks like a basketball shoe now, I mean, specifically Jordans, I kind of shy away from just because, I mean, the kind of stuff I wear where I go out now, it's like there's not really too much places to wear them. So I'm more of a casual guy. You know, I like the designer shoes. I'm starting to get real heavy in the designer shoes, whether it be Off-White, Gucci, Alexander McQueen's, things like that. Those are the type of shoes I'm starting to get into now. I mean, I got a couple out right now. You got the Sean Witherspoon. You got the Off-White. So I got
this man brought the.
I got a little something.
This man brought the storms out.
It's just something. But
all right. I mean, listen, I have an Off-White Jordan 5 black. Might get sold, might not get sold. I'm still trying to see what I do with that. Because it's not that I'm trying to be like a bot, but if I can probably sell it for $1,000 and pick up another 4 or 5 pairs that I've always wanted, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Not at all.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? So, but guys, let's get back into real quickly. So these Jordan 1 Shadow 2.0s, they came out last Saturday. I didn't expect them to be so popular, but of course, it's an Air Jordan 1. And Brad, I told Paul last week, Jordan itself can come out with anything on this model, and it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
Where were you on this? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it okay? Are you fine without getting it?
Nah, to be honest with you, man, the ones have never really been a silhouette, in my opinion, that I really cared for. As I got older and like with this, new trend of the new wave kind of the younger generation, it seems like the ones have kind of rejuvenated themselves to where, like you mentioned, it doesn't matter what colorway you put together, people are going to buy them just because they're ones. This one specifically, especially the colorway, it reminds me too much of like either a skateboarding shoe or like something that you would go snowboarding in. Like it just it screams like I don't even know if you can even say this on the show, but like a ghetto stripper would wear them. Like just like somebody on the side of the road.
It's like they missed out.
Yeah.
On the
Listen, I'll give you a perfect example. Those are the Hialeah ones right there. The Hialeah ones. Yeah, I could see see somebody.
I can already see my abuelo making the line right now.
Yeah. So the Hialeah ones right there. But nah, man. The only ones I really cared for were the white and aqua joints that just came out recently.
White aqua ones, yeah.
Yeah, those were nice.
But when I look at these, it kind of tells me if you missed out on the silver toes, especially because they're women, here you go, guys. This is what kind of resembles that. And to me, again, when I look at the leather, it's gonna crease up. That just gets me kind of, as ex-coach Joe Philbin of the Dolphins said, queasy. Now he's like, no, I don't want. There's no way I want one of those. Anyways, so Paul, I think we got your response last week after seeing them come out. What do you think? If you have an opportunity, would you have bought them?
For the 2.0s?
Yes.
I don't mind them, but I still feel like I still love the OG colorways more so than that. Like if you don't own a pair of ones already, I feel like those are a good starter. Once because we don't know when the Royals, the Breads, the first Shadows will re-release, so I feel like it's a good starter. But and the thing is, I'm speaking where I already own the first Shadows. So I'm not really in a rush, or there's no really urgency to get that. To be honest, I'm just like, if you want the ones, they're not bad, but they're not my cup of tea per se.
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, I probably have owned maybe one retro one, which is a True Reds. In all honesty, I probably wore them once, and they just did not feel good on my feet. They just did not feel right at all. So I sold them for $300, and I ended up buying other things with it. So. And then I think the only other one I just purchased the bolts because I'm part of a sneaker community called Soul Savvy, and we decided to help out one of our members who just found out that his dad had cancer, and we decided to do like a Vault Tuesday. So every single Tuesday, all of us in the whole thing, we just wear vaults just for that to I kind of show that that he's not alone per se. But besides that, unless it's an OG bread, or if it's a royal blue, or even a baby North Carolina, right?
I go back to the old love, new love pack. That was one in particular. The old love, new love pack. The new loves in particular, man. That's one colorway where like they just pop when you wear them. I like that black and yellow.
Yeah. So, all right, so let's move real quickly because we're kind of short on time. So these right here come out on Saturday. Once again, Paris Saint-Germain and Jordan have this unique relationship, especially with Kylian Mbappe and LeBron James. This comes out. My first sense after looking at it, it looks okay. I'd probably give it maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10. To me, it's not a must cop. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, I'm trying to like it, but it just seems like you want to make it look kind of like an Olympic Jordan.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's like his Olympic, kind of colorway per se.
But that gold swoosh especially too.
It's got the Olympic vibe, like mixed with like a little bit of Ben 23,
and it's also that gold Jordan emblem on the side that makes it look like a Jordan. Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I would give it like a 5.5, 6.
Paul,
I give it I like the colorway itself. I give it a 7.5. But the thing for me that's weird is that little netting. Like you kind of see through it. I don't know how that would look. Like let's say like if you're trying to hide your black socks, would that show or would that kind of get through? But and things I'm not a huge 7 fan, but I don't know. It's a nice colorway. And things also I'm a sucker for gold, so that gold swoosh is a nice touch. I'll give it that. But I can pass on it though.
So I guess what we can take out of this is that Paul is not going after the new 350s that have the whole see-through cage.
I don't know how I feel about those, but I'm okay with them if I mess up. So
all right. So real quickly, Yeezy came out earlier this week. Decided that the blue tints are coming out. Granted, I am very excited. I wanted to get my hands on these when they first came out. Just one pair per se, right? I'm not trying to go all crazy. And as much as I kind of was deciding to go on the couple 350s that come out next month. No, wait. When does that 3-pack come out? Is it at the end of this month or
I think it's next month.
Next month. Yeah, so it's the baby blue and white colorway, it's the clay colorway, and it's the brown. And they all have that see-through cage, which in all honesty, I've after time's been going, like more and less, I don't think I'm gonna cop those. But then we all found out about Yeezy Day, and they're bringing out all these originals, all the ones that I wish I had a chance to get. Yeah. So for sure, I'm probably gonna wait on those. And then of course the Belugas, right? They're also coming back. And it's like those are all the original Yeezy 350s that if you missed out, you want to wait to see if you can get your hands on those for retail instead of having to pay $400 or so.
Yeah. Also, the foam runners come out next Saturday too. The
foam runners also come out. So, Brad, real quickly, are you a 350 guy? Are you a Yeezy overall? I mean, I just started. I hated on Yeezy for such a long time, and now I have 3 pairs of 350s. And I've decided that I want to collect all the salts, all the 500 salt, the 700 salt, and just keep it like that because I don't want to go too overboard. Now, the only off colorway off the salt that I do plan on getting is the Wave Runner. Those are coming back as well in the fall too as well.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. I actually liked Yeezy more with Adidas than I did with Nike. I like the silhouettes a little bit more. It kind of fits me a little bit more. And I have had almost every single Yeezy since they came out. Not specifically every color, but at least one of every style. Specifically the 350s is probably my favorite ones. I had the original Pirates. Ended up selling those like maybe 5-6 months ago. But I got the Zebras. I got the grays, and I don't have the blue tints, but I have one more colorway. I'm trying the clays. I have the clays as well. But they're comfortable. They're sleek. You can wear them with just about anything. I really like the Ultra Boost though. Not like if we're on the subject of Adidas, I'm more of a fan of an Ultra Boost. It's just the colorways. I feel like at times they do a little bit too much. Some of the colorways, but some of the basic ones, I've enjoyed those as well.
Yeah. So while Nike keeps coming out with all these, so
those are clean. Where'd you get those at, Paul?
So I'm currently actually not in Miami right now. I am currently in Portland for a bit, and I got these at the Adidas employee store. So
really?
I got it for half off.
Adidas employee store?
Yeah, it's literally like 10 minutes up the street, and my friends were able to get me in. So I got a.
Thanks,
man. I went off.
You want to get a 10? You want to go get a 10 real quick?
Hey, Paul, can I Venmo you?
Let you know.
Can I go ahead and sell you real quick?
Yeah, I got you to the next King game, bro.
Jesus. No, for me though, it's always been the clay and the butters.
Okay.
For me, those are the only 2 350s I would probably go broke for, and right now they're at least 400 to 500, and it's like I can't do that right now. I have to just be patient and just whatever over just try to wait for them and stuff. But but the Wave Runners are coming back. So instead of me having to pay 700 per se, if you really wanted to get them, they will be coming back. So, cool. All right. So the moment that we've been waiting for, the moment I have not been waiting for, Paul, our man Kobe Bryant got inducted into the Hall of Fame this past weekend. RIP. God bless his wife. I still have no idea how she's able to stand up there and give these speeches, man. But Paul, you have the floor, sir.
Yo,
they look way better. They look way better in there than in pictures, for sure.
You now have them in hand.
The
Tell me how you feel. What's your first impressions?
I love them at first too, just because I do love the gold all over. But and I love the little numbering too with 24, 10, the 10 that he won in the Olympics and the 8. But one thing I noticed about these when I got them is that depending on this, if you look at it from this side, both switches look purple. But if I turn it the other way, they look red, or they have red with the purple gradient. So it just depends on what side you're looking from. But these are gorgeous. Even the insole. I don't know if you guys can kind of see, but they have the accomplishments, the MVP, nighttime.
What about the wrapping paper?
Yes.
So I was told that all of his accomplishments are in that wrapping paper, and I was like, that's pretty sweet.
It's similar to the insole too.
It's also in the insole.
Yeah. So, but let me pop it open for you.
Yeah.
see that way. So you kind of see some of that stuff too. So defense, I'm gonna clean it up. First team all defense, All-American high school, 2-time scoring leader, 5-time league champion. All that stuff is in there. If you guys can see it.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, sweet.
These are gorgeous. And then when you sent me the link to the EYBLs.
Yeah.
There's so many releases this year that I really want to get all of them. Even like the White Del Souls.
Let me go ahead and
one
find
that is the Think Pinks or the KOs or whatever, the breast cancer ones. I need those. I need those. Those are hard to find. Even the 2011 release is super hard to find pairs.
Yeah, Brad. So I found this earlier. So according to Nice Kicks, which is verified, this is the first look at the EBLs. Now, first impressions is that left shoe looks too bulky to me. I don't know if maybe they're rushing the toe boxes out of these from some other silhouette. I don't know how to feel about them.
I'm trying to imagine me like wearing them like on court. I could definitely dig them. They're definitely different. I don't say they give off Galaxy vibes, but like they.
I was thinking that actually.
A little bit, and I think like I don't know they're different.
I think it's the black cage.
The black, like back. What's that called? Like the back.
Now there is a pair that a specific Laker player wears every single time he plays at home, and it's just one of those that I wish they could just at least come out with a white one time. Anthony Davis's PEs, man, I think resembles more than anything that right there. Right, that colorway right there to me is so fire.
Yeah.
I would understand if I could never grab a pair, but you have to release these for Kobe fans, man. I mean, nothing against Anthony Davis. If these are your personal ones and you are signed by them, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Who am I to say, oh, please do it? But come on, Nike. Like, these right here are just so fire, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather have a pair of these than the All-Stars, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, no.
Definitely.
Bad, but.
Definitely.
Yeah, these and the Grinches. I'm good.
Yes. The Grinches I meant.
I don't need any.
Did you guys see AD's reverse Grinches that he like
the red with the green lace?
Yeah, those were sick. Yeah, those were sick.
What?
Yeah, that was a nasty colorway for sure.
And also, Devin Booker's been getting a lot of PEs too. I don't know if you guys have seen. And
I got his Air Force Ones. They're clean.
Like they're all. Oh my god! I'm so jealous of D-Book because he's literally getting a lot of exclusives that I have no idea if they're gonna release. Like I need to pull them. I gotta try and find them, but he wears a lot of exclusives. I'm like, oh my god.
So I mean, we will see what Nike comes. I know that his wife came out and said they're gonna have a couple more releases, maybe of the Del Solar ones that are all white, but those to me don't really resemble me Kobe, right? It's like we all. Yeah, I mean, those are just, my goodness gracious, those are just so beautiful. It's like we think of the Grinches. I think of Kobe playing with them on Christmas against the Miami Heat, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I see his original ones from, like those specific styles that weren't selling at all. It's sad to see them now on StockX and go for such high prices because these individuals really know what that shoe now means. And it's just, I wish somehow, some way. And I get that botting is never going to stop, man. But for these younger kids that really appreciate the shoe itself, I mean, because listen, back in the day, there was no go to StockX for me. And it's like I told Paul, I'm Brad, I had to either know somebody or I had to make the line and just cross my fingers that they had my size.
And you bring up the word appreciate, right? Like back then, anybody that was in that line, like they hustled every dollar, or they're like skipping lunch meals, out in class for a week just to save up for the shoe that they're in line for. Mm-hmm. These young kids now, man, they're not even spending their money. Let's be honest. So like the story behind it, the way they're getting it, like there is no effort into it. So as far as like the meaning of a shoe is just, it doesn't hold the same amount of weight in my opinion.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So we'll move on really quickly to our last segment, which we like to call What You Copped. Brad, anything that you copped this week? Or that you're planning on copping?
So this week, no, I didn't cop anything. Plan on copping. I mentioned Alexander McQueen's. I'm probably gonna end up getting a pair of Alexander McQueen's. I've been watching a couple YouTube videos on it, just seeing how they look on foot. The oversized sole obviously is one of the unique features on it. And me, hey man, I'm 5'7". My lady's 5'8", so she doesn't wear heels. But I heard if you get some Alexander McQueens, you get another 2 to 3 inches. So she might be able to wear heels one night.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and I ain't gonna hate on that. But they're just not for me. Paul, oh wait a minute. Forgot.
No,
you already copped
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
But I do want. Well, basically, I want literally almost every other Kobe coming out this year. Like there, probably like half of the ones that came out like last August. They weren't bad, but it's not like I needed them. But like I feel like they're just literally just coming out all the essential Kobe 6 colorways, from back then, and they're bringing them back now. And I'm just like, yo, I legit need these, and I feel like we're gonna look back maybe 10 years from now, and like I feel like we're gonna treat Kobe's the same way that we're gonna treat Jordans. I feel like maybe it won't be as crazy, and I think also with Kobe's that a lot of silhouettes do look very similar. But we're gonna allude to the stories, like especially with the Undefeated. Like we're gonna think about this the whole Hall of Fame thing, him getting to the Hall of Fame, and a lot of the colors have stories behind them. So I feel like I want to just stock up now, and then 10 years from now, maybe, my kids will kind of look at me, the dad with the cool Kobe collection that, kind of he started early. So
before y'all finish, y'all keep going. I'm going to be right back now that you said that. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Yeah, whoa. This man here got a special pair.
No,
Paul, but listen, you're absolutely right, man. For me, I didn't watch Michael Jordan from beginning to end. I watched Kobe Bean Bryant from beginning to end. So just to know that right now I'm able to get at least another pair of Grinches, to wear one and to stash one, or to because eventually, myself, I am going to be getting the Hall of Fames. I don't know how, but that means something to me. Whether and the whole thing is that by getting it now, you're kind of showing to everyone 10 years down the road this means something, right? It has a story behind it. So
exactly.
And here comes Brad.
Yeah, so I mean, like I mentioned before, you just talked about, when you grow older, you being a father. I'm a father already with 2 kids of my own. I got a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old son. So he's not big enough, but hey, so these were his first shoes born.
Right?
First shoes born. Okay, so he's already. There's more though. So he's already grown out of those. So everything I'm showing now is when he gets a little older, but I buy in advance, right? So he's got to have the Flint 13s, right? So, haven't even been worn. He got the Flint 13s. We talked earlier about some Yeezys, right? So I had to get him right with some all whites. Haven't even been worn. And last but not least, last but not least,
I need to transport my body into your son, man. Oh my God!
Last but not least, yeah. So,
bro, I'm like this, and Paul is like this.
So my son is right at all times. So I got to make sure if
Brad,
I'm right, he's right.
Brad, the moment your son does not fit in those, you need to call me. You need to call me. Let me know.
Your son's gonna have like such good fit pics.
Oh, dude!
Now and later on, when you look back, it's gonna be insane.
Jesus,
I can't wait. But yeah, man, that's just the start for him, man. So I'm trying to keep it going, like you said. Man.
You know what, though, Brad? I have faith in you, man, because you're gonna teach your children what it is to read the stories, what it is to know about the culture. It's not just about waking up on a Saturday. Oh, what's coming out? Oh, that looks hot. Okay, but it's not about that. It's about knowing when things are gonna happen, and it just excites you. And it's like those are the ones I have to get no matter what. So that's
like being able to watch Space Jam with me and my son, like both wearing the Space Jam 11s or the Hair 7s, and just knowing like that we're on the same page of knowing the background of it, right? Like listening to Michael Jackson with the Bordeaux 7s, like just OG original moments between sneakers and just famous traditions, famous celebrities. It goes a long way, man. Sneakers is one thing that brings people together no matter what, man. You may be one person that you do not talk to anybody, but as soon as you walk up and you see some nice kicks on somebody's feet, you got no problem having a conversation with them.
Man, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight, bro. I see those UNC off whites. I don't care what sizes those are. I see the Kobe's next to the Hall of Fame. I'm like, man, what do I got to do to win a raffle or to have a dad like you?
Whatever.
But Brad, please, man, we need to have you on more, bro.
Of course, bro. Of course.
I know you got work to do and stuff like we all do, man. But you're always welcome to hop on.
Yeah.
If you want to become our third guest, I'm giving you that invite. We have others that wanted to do this, but they never seem to have the time. But it's like, listen, you to have the time, you got to make the time, and if you can't, that's fine. But there's always sneakers coming out. There's always new releases coming out, and I feel like it's just something that it needs to keep going, right? So
for sure,
come on, let me know what you want to do with that. Thank you guys for joining us. Damn, we're 40 minutes deep. Paul, any last words before we sign out?
No, I think I don't.
By the way, let me know.
Don't sell Kobe's shoes for profit, okay? That's the one thing. Don't sell Kobe's shoes for profit. Admire the shoes.
Yes,
Paul,
absolutely.
If you get back into that employee store, you better call me.
Both of us. I need those in a 10.
Sizes 10 through 11. You need to call us.
I will let you know. I
need a 10. I'll throw you something nice.
Got you.
All right, Brad. Thank you so much for joining us, man. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Peace.